2 weeks from today, I go back into the classroom and I'm going to start teaching my class on the business of media. And I will post some information from those lectures if anybody wants to get really nerdy with this stuff. But the framework I'm going to be using in this class, for those of you who are in the too long didn't read category, is that Netflix has been the media destroyer. Because think about it. We used to all complain about cable. And so we were like, no, I don't want to pay all that money. So you watch Netflix. You don't want to wait for everything to come along. And so Netflix would put on the entire program and you didn't have to wait week for week for week. You could just binge everything. And at that time, that seemed like a great idea. But here's the problem. Cable can actually be regulated. In 1992, there was the Cable Consumer Protection Act. And what happened was that people got really mad about how much money they were spending on their cable bill. And so Congress put some protections in place that allowed for those prices to be reduced. Netflix, on the other hand, isn't regulated. The other thing is while the cable bill was going up, and it certainly was going up, what Netflix provided, supposedly, was not having to deal with advertising. Now, anyone who knows anything about Netflix knows that while you may not see commercials as we know them, it's rampant with product placement. In fact, House of Cards was called House of Product Placement. If you watched Orange is the New Black, there was a Dunkin' Donuts cup practically in every scene on that show. And what's about to happen now for consumers is that the subscription isn't going to be large enough for them to be able to pay because their financials are so bad. So what are they going to do? They're going to add advertising. So those commercials you were trying to run away from are going to come back and get you. Now that's the consumer side of the equation. Let's look at the business side of the equation. Netflix has been overspending since the get-go. In 2020, I wrote this article for Medium. 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago, I could have told you that Netflix was in trouble. And the issue is that they constantly overspend on the originals, and it doesn't pay off because they have no back end the way that legacy media does. Sure, Seinfeld made money when it appeared on NBC because the show ran for so long, but he made most of his money when he sold it into cable or sold it into local broadcast stations. There is no back end on Netflix. And this is what the writers and the actors are complaining about. Because you put everything online at the same time, there are no reruns. There isn't a second place to sell this stuff. So nobody thought through the financials, and it's coming back to bite us in so many ways. Is there a way out of this? Maybe go back to cable. At least there's an opportunity to have some regulation there. But I wrote in Black Ops Advertising in 2016 about how the many different subscriptions that we were going to have to buy was going to outpace the amount that we were paying for cable. My concern right now, and the difference now versus back then, is that there's so much concern about the ability of these companies to make money that there's going to be additional consolidation. And it was bad before, but we may be down to 4 companies deciding what information we're going to hear. I hope that's not the case.